What is going on, fellow web developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we're going to be building this responsive sign-up newsletter landing page inside of React and Tailwind CSS. As you can see here, you can bring it all the way down and it will be responsive, and one of the best parts is this actually works. I could put my email address in here and hit join, and it will subscribe me to my newsletter, which is just a demo one, which is through Review, and it's super dead simple. You sign in and then you can just start creating your own newsletter or whatnot. So I'm going to show you how to hook this up too. So we're going to go over to sign up forms. Once you've signed in to get Review, you can head over to this link, which will be in the description of the video. So head over there and we'll get this code. We'll need this code later on. So let's head back over here. And yeah, so that's what we're building. We're going to be learning how to use React JS and also Tailwind, mashing them together to build this project. So if you're excited, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. So without further ado, we will carry on with this video. Okay guys, so I have opened up a new folder inside Visual Studio Code, and we are going to get started by using feet to create our project. Now we're going to say npm create feet, or not site, feet at latest, and we're going to do dot just says, hey, create this project inside of this folder. Hit enter. It's going to ask us what package name we want. Now the package, we're just going to say RJSLP, React JS landing page. It doesn't matter, that's just my package name. I'm going to hit React and then select the variant of just React again, and then I'm going to say npm I to install the dependencies we need. While that's doing that, I'm going to come in here, delete app.css. We're going to delete the logo.svg, and we are going to go back to our terminal and we're going to install Tailwind. So what we want to do is say Tailwind npm I -d, and we're going to say Tailwind CSS at latest, along with post CSS at latest, and finally we need auto prefixer at latest. These all just go hand in hand with each other when you create a Tailwind project. Hit enter, and that's going to install those dependencies we need in our node modules as well. So I have this image here. I'm just going to copy this, bring this into my source folder and paste it in there. You can get all these files. Everything will be in the description of this video via the source code link or the GitHub link down below. So you'll be able to get this image if you want to use the same image as me. However, I implore you, or basically you can use any image you want. That's what I'm trying to say. You can grab any image you want. You can style this however you like. I just want to show you how I'm going to do this, and hopefully you'll learn a lot of things along the way. So now we've done that. Now we've got Tailwind installed as well. We need to run npx tailwind css init-p. So this just creates a config file and a post CSS config file. That's what the -p does. It creates a post CSS config file as well. Inside of our Tailwind config, we need to basically, we're going to tell the content what files to look at to look for the CSS classes. So we're going to go there. I'm going to say /source /star/star.js JSX. Now, the reason I've done it like this, let me explain. So all my files are going to be inside this source folder. So that's why we selected the source folder. I've then done .. which means search other folders as well. So if there's any other folders in here, you can also search those for any file. So it doesn't matter what name it is that has the extension of either JavaScript or JavaScript X. Right there. So there you go. You can see JSX right here. These are the files it's going to be looking in for those classes. We're then going to go in our extend, and we're going to add in some colors. So we're just going to add in one color. It's going to be my primary color, and it's going to have the hashtag EE9789. We're then going to go under extend, and we're just going to say font family, and we're going to be using, for this tutorial, I'm going to be using Sans, and it will be Montserrat. There we go, and sans serif, just like that. Now we'll need to go get those files, or go get the code for that. So I'm just going to go to Google or fonts.google.com, and I'm just going to search for Montserrat. And there you go. You could select this, and then you could select which styles you want. You can see I've selected regular, 400, regular, italic, bold, and black. So I'm going to copy these. I'm going to go back into my code. I'm going to go into the index.html file. I'm going to go underneath the tile, and I'm just going to paste these in, tab them out, and there you go. That's now ready to go. So let's just close that. and close the Tailwind config file. We now need to go into index.css, delete the code. I'm just going to put a at Tailwind base at Tailwind components, and finally at Tailwind utilities. So these are the 3 components we need for our actual application to get basically this is how we import Tailwind into our index.css file. We're then going to say body, and we're going to get the background image we set. So we're going to say URL. We're going to do quotes / background.jpg, just like that, and that's going to know to go to this background.jpg file here. We then just want to make sure the size covers the whole thing, so we're going to say cover. And finally, we're just going to say background position is going to be equal to top center to keep it in a nice position there as well. And there you go. So that's all we need to do in the index.css file. Now, the rest of our code will all be going in this app .jsx file here. So we can actually delete all of this from up here because we will not need it, as it's going to be a dead simple functional component with, well, without functions basically. It's not got any functions because it's a landing page. But React does make this a lot cooler and easier to work in your environment, so that's why we're going to use it. Now, I'm going to delete everything from within the return here. I'm just going to create a new div. I'm going to tab this out. There we go. And then I'm going to create a new div with a couple of classes on. So we're going to say class name, and this is going to be a min, height, screen, flex column, and then text white. Hit save, and we're just going to say npm run def to start our development server. Let's just quickly say h1 hello world in here so we can actually see something. So if we go back here, we can close this, and in here you can see our background image is there, and so is our hello world code at the top left there, which is perfect. So refresh, you can see that's how it is. It looks good. Perfect. Okay, so back in our app component here, or app file, we're going to create a main tag. And next, underneath that main tag, we're going to have a footer tag as well, because I like to use the, the proper syntax for this. So we're going to use the correct semantic HTML. We're then going to use a class name, and we're going to set a container on here. So we're going to say container mxauto. So these are just Tailwind classes. You can look this up in the Tailwind documentation. They're all dead simple. Or if you have the Tailwind IntelliSense extension, you can also just hover over them to figure out what they do. So mxauto px6 with a pt of 16, so we're going to put some padding at the top. We're going to flex this with a 1 and make it also everything inside the main is text centered. Flex 1 is just going to make sure it fits the whole page, because we'll set this to the whole height. So this is now going to grow, and this will only take up as much space as it allowed. So let's just give some class names on this footer real quick. And the only class names we need is container, mxauto, and padding of 6. Then inside of here, we're going to have a div which has, we don't even need a div inside there. We can just put on here. We can say flex col, and then we're going to say md flex row. So this is for the responsiveness of it. We're going to set the items to be center, and finally we're going to justify between. And then inside here, we're going to have one paragraph tag, which is just going to say built with, and I'm going to use an emoji of love here, the little love heart with stars, by Tyler Potts. So built with love by Tyler Potts. And finally, we're going to have another div with a class name of flex and minus mx6, just like that. And the reason we're doing minus margin, we're doing the same amount as we have padding, because we want to make sure the actual elements inside line up, and I'll explain more once we get it. So we're going to have 3 A tags with the class, or let's just do classes first. We're going to say mx3. We're going to have hover, opacity 80, dot duration 150 times 3. Bam, I know it's a bit messy. We're just going to add a hashtag in each one of these, because these aren't actually going to go anywhere yet. The first one will say about us, hashtag. The second one will say privacy. Finally, the last one's just going to say contact. Again, this will vary depending on what project you're building. Obviously, I'm just going to break these into the next line, and I'm just going to put in these little bars after the actual first two here, just so we have some little bars. If we go back, you can see these bars are down here with this little hover animation, which is really nice. And there you go. You can see they're now in there. You can see the build type. So the footer is now done. It's also responsive, so it will break down for us. And there you go. So that's looking good. Let's go back to the code. And you know what? Let's actually just slam this to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slam that to the side. I'm going to slam this to that side. And hopefully that should be good. Close that and zoom in by 1 just to make this... Oh, that might be a bit too close. Hopefully you can read that. Let me know if not, and I'll fix it for the next video. So back inside of our main, we want to do a couple of things. Let's just make some space here. And I'm just going to say, we're going to get H2 to start with. We'll say H2 with the class of text2XL. We're then going to get the .md class. So we're going to say on medium screens, we want it to be 4XL. And then on large screens, we want the text to be 6XL with uppercase on all screens like that. And there you go. So now inside of here, we're just going to say welcome to, and that's all we're going to write in that one. We're then going to do a H1, which we're going to say the coding club. And we're going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm just going to copy these. We're going to add some, we're going to change the classes up slightly. I don't know if I even wrote class name there. So this will no longer be to 2XL. This will be to 3XL on mobile screens. This one here will be 6XL, and the final one will be 8XL. We're still going to have it up. No, we're going to have it uppercase with font black. And also we're going to add a margin bottom of 8. And there you go. You can see how that's looking. And if we make this get a bit bigger, you can see that actually changes with the screen size, which is great. Now, under here, we're going to create a little pill sort of styled element. So we're going to create a div quickly. We're going to just give it a random number. You can actually pull this through from an API if you wanted to, or even if you're a newsletter, you could hook into that API and be like, hey, I want the amount of subscribers I have to show here. So we're going to say text LG, MD text 2XL, LG for, again, large screens. We're going to say text 3XL. We're going to have a padding Y of 2. And a padding X of 4. Now we're going to do a bit of extra padding Y here. So we're going to say padding Y of 4 and a padding, sorry, so we've got MD. We need another MD of padding X, sorry, of 10. And then we need a large padding Y of 6 and a large padding X of 12. So I know it's a bit confusing there, but basically we've added some large text for mobile screens. We're then using, so look, you can see here, there's 18, 24, 30, and then for our padding, we've done a similar thing there, just so you can see what's going on. And then we're just going to have the background to be white, with the background opacity at 10, with the width of fit, so it doesn't span across the whole screen, with MX Auto to make sure it is centered. We're going to do MB8, push the elements down, and then rounded full, just like that. And there you go. You can see we've got a little pill. We also need to write members after this, so you can actually read it says members. I mean, you could just leave it a number, but I think it looks cooler with the actual word members next to it. Now, under here, we're going to start our form. But before we do our form, let's head over to review. So let's just bring this out here and actually stretch this out. So here, if you come over to here, so once you've set up your new newsletter, you'll see you'll be stuck to something like this. You can add some intro text here. You can customize it, add in a heading section, say hello world. It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to go over the actual how you use this because it's not the point of the video. And you can actually use any integration you want. You don't have to use this one. I'm just going to use this one because I already have it set up and I thought it would be pretty cool. And you can see all the things here. So now if you head over to weekly newsletter account settings, we can hit integrations, scroll to the bottom and go to sign up forms. And that's where you're going to find this embed code. So I'm going to copy it from the form only. I don't need this external thing. And I'm just going to paste this in here. I'm going to take this, bring it up. And then we're going to get everything inside and also bring it up one. And now I'm going to remove, so you can see here we have this div for the first name. This is all optional, so I'm going to remove that and the last name. just like that. Also, there's reason the input's got error is because you need this backslash in React to tell it it's just a singular HTML tag and it doesn't need two. We're going to remove these because we're going to have these inputs right next to each other. We're going to remove this label. We're probably going to even remove this diff at the top here. You know, we will need a diff, but probably not that. Or we can just keep that on. There we go. Bring that up, and then we're going to have the footer for this as well down here. We're going to break that down and break that down. Now, the classes do not matter on this. The only thing in this that matters is going to be this input element and this input email field, and the actual action. Basically, the details on the form and the inputs are the only things that need to remain the same. Also, I think in the terms of surface, you have to have both of these on your page. Otherwise, this text here has to be on your page. Otherwise, you'll also get in trouble. So let's just keep that in mind. Let's just give this some spacing so we can actually read it a bit easier. And then let's break this down. So we've got an action here. This action is going to link to my, basically my ad subscriber. We've then got a method here of post because we're going to be posting it to it. We then got a name of review form, and I don't think we need either of these. They're not actually necessary, so I'm just going to delete them. And target blank will make sure it opens in a new page and not take you away from your current landing page. And then inside of here, also, where we've got class, we need to make sure they say class name because obviously React uses class name and not class. So let's break these down. We're going to break that down. We're going to put a placeholder down, type down, name down, and ID. Now, the ID isn't necessary. It won't do anything, so you can remove that. Same for the ID down here. Oh, not the whole thing, though. That's not what I want to do. The only things that are relevant are the names and the values and the types. Name, value, and type. So I'm going to change this to join today, just to make sure, you know, it matches. It sounds better than subscribe. Join today. And now I'm going to move this class name. I'm just going to bring it down here. I prefer them being on the bottom. It makes more sense to me. And cool. So let's style the form first. So we've got the inner part of this form. You know, we could just. No, we're going to keep it. I'm so indecisive when it comes to Tailwind. We're going to say flex column. And then after the flex column, we can say MD flex row because only on mobile we want it to be in columns. On desktop, we want it to be side by side. We can then say justify center and margin bottom 4 to push this little thing down here down. We're also going to change this to be class name. Again, it needs to be class name. And we're going to say opacity 75 to make it only 75% opaque. And then also set the text to be italic. So there you go. You can see that looks a bit better there. We're also going to steal this styling, this class name from the aref here and add it to this. We're going to remove the MX. And I'm just going to copy that one last time and place it on the other diff there. Now that's just for the little animation. So you can see, you can click it. It gives you a little animation when you hover over it, which is nice. Cool. So back to this one. So let's style this email address here. And your email address sounds cool, but I like to use names as an example. So I'm going to say e.g. And let's think of a cool person's name at Tyler Potts. That is a cool person's name. Thank you, Copilot. I appreciate the backup there. But we're going to use someone cooler than me. I hate to say it, but that's going to be my boy Aaron Yeager at notatitan.com. That's a solid email address there. And our class name. So let's now add the styling to this. So we want to say the text is 2XL, right? It's about 2 times as big as my brain. We're then going to say placeholder, text gray, and we'll say 400 to make it pretty gray. We also want enough styling for the placeholder to be italic. We then want a padding of Y4 and a padding X of 6 on mobiles, on bigger screens. So you can see that's quite big. On the smaller screens. We're then going to say, we're going to say padding X of 10 and a padding Y on the large of 6. And then on the large, we're going to have a padding X of 12 as well, with a background of white and a background opacity of 10 again. We're then going to have a focus on this. So when you're focused in, we're going to make the background opacity 20, and we're going to add a duration of 150 there just to give it an animation. We're then going to do some rounded here. So I'm going to say rounded full. So on mobile, that's going to look like that. Rounded full, it looks pretty cool. Also, I just noticed that text is huge compared to everything else. Did I put 2XL on that? I do not remember doing that. We're going to say this is going to be MD 2XL and then just text large. There you go. That's much better. And then after the rounded full, we want to say on MD screens, we're going to say there's going to be no rounded top right corner, and we're going to set it to none. We're also going to say there's no rounded top or bottom right corner either. So if we hit save and we expand this, you can see the corners on the top right and bottom right basically are missing. Perfect, which is great. We're going to say an MB4, and then we're just going to say an MB0, and that is it for that. So let's go push the button below down. So let's give a class name to our input below. And this is going to start off with a color of background primary. So that's the custom color we added to Tailwind. We're then going to say MD rounded top left none. Well, sorry. We want to say rounded full first, just so we know it's going to be rounded full. And then on larger screens, we want it to not be rounded. So we're going to say rounded bottom left none. We're then going to say text 2XL. We're going to do the same as above though. We're going to make it text large, and then on MD screens we're going to make it text 2XL. We'll give it a padding white of 4. Well, actually, you know what, to save time, we're going to copy the padding we have here because it's the exact same. Hit save, and there you go. You can see so far it's looking pretty good. We just need a cursor of pointer to make it look like we can hover it or have it. And then on hover, we just want to set the opacity to about 90 degrees. So let's just, or sorry, 90 degrees, 90. And a duration of 150 to give it that animation effect. And I'm going to make that 75. We're going to make it opacity 75. That's a lot better. There you go. And there you go. So that is the mobile screen. If we now scroll up, you've got the desktop screen here. That's looking pretty good. And I think that's good. I think, did we add italic to this? We did. That's perfect. So, guys, now you can see this landing page. Let's just bring this all the way up. You know, let's full screen it. And there you go. You can see the landing page we have just built looks really cool. Oh, but I don't like that. See, when you hover over it, there's an outline. Let's fix that. It's going to bug me otherwise. We're going to say outline none on the input there. There you go. Much better. So we get that hover effect, but nothing else. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. If you have, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really does help. And if you're new around here, smash that subscribe button. Finally, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. Or if you need help with your React or Tailwind project, head over to our Discord server. The link is in the description. Join it, jump in the help chat and say, hey, I need help with this video because of this. So guys, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.